So thanks for joining me. If you're joining me here live stream, leave me a comment if you would. And if you're watching this, please give me a like on this video. Definitely helps out with getting more people to watch this live stream. And I just wanted to go over this new latest bathroom that I just finished and completed. So this is in my studio above the garage. Also, if you could, let me know whether you can actually hear me well or not. I just want to make sure that my volume is good. It's been a while since I've been on here, so I don't want to screw up, basically. Yep. Okay. My audio is good. That's good to hear. Okay. So anyways, this whole topic on this live stream is going to be about the time and cost that it takes to renovate a bathroom. Hey, Ladawani, Garland, thanks so much. Appreciate it. So I want to go through the topic of time and labor that it takes to do this so that if you're a contractor, you can kind of evaluate your own situation, make sure that you're charging enough, and also just kind of evaluate what you're doing and what time it takes to do something. And also, if you're a DIYer, like what exactly you're going to save by taking the struggle of doing all of this. So this is a standard 5x9 bathroom. And as you can see, I used an acrylic tub surround. Now, there's a reason why I did that. And the main primary reason I wanted to use an acrylic tub is because I think it's very achievable for most people to be able to do this. If you're a homeowner and you only have like one bathroom in your home, or maybe you just have a bathroom and a half, it's really tough to get started into something like this because you're going to have to get it done in order for your family to use it. Everyone's relying on it. So I completely understand how difficult that can be. And it's a little bit scary if you don't do this stuff all the time. Even if you're a different type of contractor that does roofing or HVAC or electrical, taking on a bathroom renovation is definitely time consuming, complex, and difficult. And that's what my whole channel is about, is trying to simplify this for you and help you with your bathroom renovation. But I did do an acrylic tub surround, as you can see there, primarily for the ease of installation. You can literally install this tub and shower kit in about 2 days and then be able to, use the shower. You'd be able to get your family back in the functioning deal. So now, granted, I'm always recommending you gutting the bathroom all the way down to the studs because that's going to make it easier to route new electrical, route new plumbing, inspect all of that, make sure that the framing's in good shape, especially if you have an older home. So that is definitely going to be something that, could be a little bit scary to you. I completely understand. I mean, it's something that could be overwhelming and you might feel that it's a lot to get back together. But having an acrylic tub surround, I mean, in a weekend, you could get that back in the working order and then take your time on doing the rest. So let's get right into it. I don't want to keep babbling on, but let's get right into my my quote that I have here. All right, there. Yeah, okay, I'm down here in the corner. So this is a quote. Now, granted, this is a quote that I developed after installing this bathroom. So some of it is a little bit of cheating, but this is a good guidance on how to go about estimating a bathroom and evaluating, the time and the cost of what you would want to do. Now, I'm a big proponent of making sure that you highlight and make as many details and points as possible to a client. I've learned over the years the hard way that if you don't, specify what you're doing, you can get caught into, well, I just assumed that's what you were doing. And if you don't have any language or any pictures showing what exactly your plan was, it could be very argumentative. It could be problematic. And, any type of disagreement like that can be really challenging to overcome. So if you can make your quotes as transparent as possible and have as many bullet points on exactly what you're planning on doing in the bathroom, the better off you'll be and the better the communication will be. So I always start out with having some kind of a layout diagram of the actual bathroom so that we know exactly where the fixtures are going to be set and how things are going to work out. And it also provides some extra insight on like how big the vanity can be. That's one problem I've come into over and over and over again, is that the client will buy a vanity. It'll end up being like 48 inches wide. You have a 5-foot bathroom. There's just not enough room between the toilet and that vanity. It looks small in the store, but when you bring it back home, it's much bigger. So this will at least give you a visual reference to it. Now, again, this is just a 5x9 bathroom, pretty standard. If you have that, you're probably just replacing what's existing and basically keeping everything the same size. So it's not a very big challenge that way. So, hey, Bob, good to see you. Thank you here. And Jamrock, thanks for joining me here. But on the demo side, this can wildly change from one bathroom to another. It depends on how old your home is. You have to evaluate like what it's going to take to get all this stuff out and into back of a pickup truck or a dumpster. So, demo is definitely a wild card. It really depends on all those factors, and you have to evaluate the time that it's going to take to do it. Me living here in Pittsburgh, I have done bathrooms in some very challenging locations, basically in a home that had like 50 stairs to get up to the home. And then you had another flight of steps up to the second floor. And I tell you what, those are some grueling days transporting all of this waste down the steps and into a dumpster in the back of the pickup truck. Now, you have to also evaluate what you have. I had a pickup truck that I was able to mostly an 8-foot bed that I can throw most of all this debris in, go to a transfer station and just empty it there. And usually that's only about $150 to $200 to get rid of the waste. So if you're ordering a dumpster, your costs are going to be a little bit higher than mine. And dumpsters are always challenging because depending on where you're at, you can't always leave them on the street. It's also bringing a lot of awareness to your project as well. So I've always been kind of wanting to just have a pickup truck do most of this, and it's worked tremendously. So just to give you an idea, what I would mark down for demo would be $2,250 for this size bathroom. Now, again, this was above my garage, and it wasn't a 5x9, and I was basically removing newer materials. So I feel pretty confident with that. But the whole idea of the way I go about estimating things is by the day. I try to evaluate what it's going to take me per day and then kind of divide that into all of the tasks. So I'm not necessarily trying to compete with other contractors with what they might charge to install a faucet or install a tub. It's really about, okay, here are the tasks that I need to do. This is how many days it's going to take. And then I need to make the quote make sense. And then if the customer wants to reduce the cost, we have easy ways of doing that because I have everything broken down. So I hope that makes sense. Nothing is ever exactly the same price. I don't really try to compete. And these days, I don't see any reason why anybody would try to compete when there is so low amount of contractors out there. If you're a good contractor, you have all the tools and equipment and you're ready to go, your competition just doesn't exist. So, keep your prices high, stay profitable. But I did want to mention, I do have about $315 worth of material that I will be covering in the demo process. I always also state on there to make sure that this includes all of the scrap material and waste throughout the project that you're going to be removing. And believe me, that can actually add up quite a bit. All the packaging, all the different things are very, it's just there's a lot of waste. There's a lot of waste that it gets involved with that. So you need to account for that in some way. And that's where I do it in the demo process. So $315 for materials that I need, the plastic garden and the dumpster fees. And then it's around $2,200 for the whole day. Going on to page 2, this is the plumbing. Now, I do want you to keep in mind that I do not try to create any type of allowances for supplies to the client. I think it's a bad idea. It just makes it harder. And there's always a whole bunch of back and forth on things. I don't like to get caught in the dilemma of, hey, I found a better deal over here at Lowe's versus Home Depot, or I found something online. That is not worth your time or effort. So I would definitely recommend just keeping out all of the main fixtures and allow the client to choose and purchase those. The other thing it does is it eliminates you as the contractor from having to be responsible for the shipment problems or the problems with the fixtures that you actually get. That actually is amazingly how time consuming that can be. If you got a product that didn't have all the parts in it or that was broken, I mean, that's all you on the contractor. So if a client wants me to purchase all the things, I'm going to add a premium to that. I'm going to add about 10, 15% on top of whatever those materials cost to deal with the problems that are associated with that. But these days, the way everything is able to be shipped straight to your home, almost free shipping for that matter, I really would implore you to, push that off to the client, let them purchase it, let them have the receipts, let them have the, the warranty through that, so that you don't have to deal with that. It makes it a lot easier. And it's also, in some ways it makes your quote look a little bit lower at the end of the day. It's up to them to save their money on the materials that they're installing. So we did go with a Kohler tub and shower kit. Now we did go with like one of the higher end models that had the grab bars and this bench seat in there. So as you can see in this image here, oh, I took that out of there. So as you can see here, this one actually has the grab bars in it. There's a little bench there in the background. So that bench is actually ridiculously expensive. A lot of people have been asking me, where do they get that? I don't really know. I couldn't really find it on its own. There was a couple weird shops that had it for sale separately, but that's a $500 bench, believe it or not. And then the grab bar kit is like around another 700 or so. So this is an expensive model of this tub and shower kit, but there are more or less expensive ones that don't have all of those extra features. You could literally just get the tub surround kit and the tub for roughly around $1,800. So you do have options to reduce the cost of what that is, but that is besides the point, because that's really has nothing to do with what you're actually charging the client. Let me go back to my other screen here. There we go. Okay. So on this end, I'm just basically installing it. So all the materials that are incorporated with installing it, the mortar, the fittings for the plumbing, anything, the framing aspects of it to make sure that I have blocking where I need it. Anything that is basically for the setting purposes of this. So that was around $467. And I'm charging $2,500 to install that. We'll get into the day-by-day breakdown, but this really took about a day and a half to install, and I'll show you at the end how I have that broken down. But I try to keep organize it in a matter of what you're doing. So this would be kind of considered your rough-in plumbing aspect of it. Now, I don't usually include what my materials cost to that client. This is just for your reference, so as a contractor, this is what you should expect to have. Now, I do also, I should mention, all of these basically spreadsheets and this quote is in my course. I do have a course that it outlines the entire process of this installation. So check out my course. It's the Kohler Tub and Shower course, $49. I have about 65 tutorials that go through the entire process of installing this. And then I also have these guides, checklists. And I do have a spreadsheet that shows the entire basically cost sheet breakdown of everything that it took to do this. So it's really important to put things in the spreadsheet. Everything costs money, and you don't want to be eating things that you don't have to. All right, so waterproofing. This is something that is probably honestly not necessary in a shower surround like this. As you can see, I did some mosaic tile around the surround. This was definitely like icing on the cake, but I also think it really provided a beautiful look. I was really happy with it. I think it makes the whole deal. It makes, if you could just do drywall and be done with it, but I tell you what, that tile has really made this a really beautiful piece of artwork. And, and the other thing I should mention is like you could get that tub surround in and then do the waterproofing around it, use the shower, and then take your time at doing the tile later on. You could take the next several weekends to do that, and it wouldn't be any big deal. So that's why I kind of really like having the method of having something that can be functional, and then you can work your way through the project when you have more time. So this was basically just a foam board, backer board, but in all intents and purposes, you could have just done drywall and just tile directly over that, and it wouldn't have really cost much more. That was about $188 for the waterproofing. So I charged $600. Only takes about an hour and a half to actually install. So electrical. Now this is really quite a feat with all of the lighting that I have in here. So don't underestimate the time it takes to do this. Now I have a shower light. I got the vent fan. I got pendant lighting. And as you can see, I have that mirror cabinet that actually has a light and a defogger on it. And then to top it off, I have under cabinet lighting as well. So a lot of electrical going on in this bathroom. I also have a bidet toilet seat, and this is going to require an additional outlet to plug that in. Now you can just plug that, basically daisy chain it off of a GFI. But since this was above a garage, I needed to do everything and run all new electrical in here. So I have basically one 20 amp line for that GFI and bidet. I have one GFI for heated flooring. I did do some heated flooring on here as well, which I think is one of the best upgrades that you can do. And then we have a 15 amp line for all of that lighting. So that's 3 different circuits run down to the main breaker panel. And that can wildly change as far as the time it takes to do that. It depends on how old your home is. Again, if you're on the 2nd or 3rd floor trying to run it all the way down to that main panel, it could be very time consuming. So be aware. But once you run one line, running 3 lines is really the same amount of work. It's just getting it down there. That's the tough part. And then you also have to make sure that you have enough room in your breaker panel to actually add all of these circuits. So don't commit to something without looking at the electrical. Make sure that you can, add that floor heating to your whole system. Now, I do usually incorporate the vent fan. I usually buy those by bulk. I buy a bunch of them because I just use Panasonic fans all the time. So I kind of include that into my price. I also have a lot of these 4-inch halo shower lights that that are really easy to install. So I don't really budge on what I'm using on that. But when it comes to the LED mirror or whatever mirror that they want to get, I definitely allow them to purchase that. Same with the pendant lighting. I don't want to get involved with, what deal you got where. Now the rough-in electrical I put underneath this rough-in section because, that's something that is going to be during this rough-in stage. So having, that all set up. And again, it's nice having images of what you're doing. I wouldn't necessarily say that's super important, but just having something stating floor heat, making sure that that's highlighted and they know what's involved with running a new dedicated circuit for that. So electrical, that's definitely taken an entire day's worth of work to do. $2,500. The actual cost of materials to me on my end was $767. Drywall painting. Okay, so now this, you kind of have the market on this one. There is not going to be any drywaller that comes out and is going to do this bathroom. You're going to have a hard time finding a professional drywaller coming out and finishing 4 to 5 sheets. So you really do have, the power to be able to charge a little bit more for this because no one else is going to do it. And it's only going to work to your benefit in your timeline if you do everything yourself. So now I do charge a little bit more on that end. It's only about $500 worth of materials to do that. I do leave the paint purchase to the client, let them purchase the actual wall color so that I don't have to deal with that they didn't like the color and I'm not eating the cost of that. Paint's not even cheap anymore. It's like $50 a gallon. So, you have to be aware of that. But I charge about $2,400. It only takes about an hour or 2 a day finishing and hanging drywall. So you don't really have an enormous amount of labor into it. It's just a daily thing that you're doing as you're progressing with the project. So again, this is kind of like incorporating some of those expenses that I'm trying to make over this 10-day period. And the drywall and painting is one area that you can kind of beef it up and make it look presentable. So now I do have a line item for the floor heating system. But at this point, it's just literally setting that floor mat and running the wires into your new conduit. So the rough-in stage, there was a charge additionally to that earlier. This is just for installing just the heat mat, which is very simple, less than an hour's worth of time to test it and install it. So that really a floor heated system for a bathroom this size, like in the way this one was configured, I only got 21 square feet of a mat. $279 includes the thermostat and everything you need. So it's not a very expensive upgrade. It's just a matter of running that new wire with the rough end that does add a little bit of expense to it. But I do highly recommend that being one of your great, what do you want to call it? Upgrades to the bathroom. All right. So now the floor. This floor is something that you want to charge a little bit more for. It's absolutely beautiful. I think it's one of the highlights of this bathroom, and I absolutely loved installing it. And I think it really made it a really beautiful design. But these were 24 by 48-inch tiles, and there is definitely some um, techniques with cutting it and ensuring that you don't do anything. Because I mean, you crack one of these tiles, that's 8 square feet of tile gone. So, I definitely you want to take your time on this. It basically takes the same as any other floor. It's just going to take you an entire day to set them. It's just a little bit nerve wracking, especially if you're going to be doing like a floor flush mount floor vent like I did here. You guys can find this on my YouTube channel. I just have most of those recent videos that are more polished on there. But this little flush mount vent took about an hour alone just to install, which isn't bad, but you just want to be charging for that. So I charged, nope, that's the wrong one there. So I charge $1,750, or that's what I would charge someone to do. And I leave that vent cover up to somebody else to purchase. So you got $452 worth of materials that I am purchasing. I'm leaving the tile onto the client, let them purchase it and have it delivered to their home, and let them be responsible for any returns that might need to be done, or, whatever happens to that shipment on them. So $452 is basically the thin set, my blades, all the things that I need to additionally order to cut all of this and install. So you're making a pretty good penny on installing a floor like that one day. You're really talking about $1,200, $1,300. But there are, you got to have the equipment to do it. And this is something that you just don't want to skimp on. I did do a vent for it, a special cover, I should say, for the vent fan. Now, I don't know if this was really worth the money. I even kind of addressed that in my YouTube video on installing that, but it does create a beautiful look. It's much better than looking at a regular exhaust vent cover. But, I charged $500, or I would charge $500 to do that. And because it is time consuming, and I wouldn't budge off that price. I'm leaving it up to the client to purchase the actual recessed kit, which is $165. So that, if somebody wanted this, they're getting charged almost $700 to upgrade that fan, way much more than what the actual vent fan cost in the first place. So, but that is just like a completely, extra luxury upgrade, something I've been wanting to try to do. Now, when it comes to the tile, this is something that you can definitely reduce if you made an easier pattern. I certainly did not pick or my wife did not pick a easy pattern at all. This is a basket weave tile. So this takes a lot of time to set. And it's actually kind of amazing how much waste you actually have with installing this as well. Make sure that you order enough of this. I needed 28 sheets, believe it or not, to do this. It's kind of mind-boggling that's how much tile it took. And it also took me about 6 hours worth of time to actually install, not including the grouting and all the other cleanup and stuff like that. So you're talking about a full day and a half of messing around with that surround. Now, if I would have went with subway tile, or if they, went with 12 by 24s or something simple like that, I could have definitely reduced the cost of the labor, in half for this one. But that was the expense on this one was very cheap, $183, $2,000 is what I'm charging to do that. And you're still saving money versus having a full tub surround. But this all depends on, the pattern of tile that you're installing. So basket weave is definitely not easy. Getting into the final touches of the bathroom, putting in a floating vanity. Again, floating vanities are beautiful. Some of these other freestanding types are great, but they're so time consuming. And a lot of times they have different shelving units and different things that might require you to move that plumbing. So pay attention to that. If I would definitely start charging a little bit more for vanities, because now they're so complex. It's not just like an open sink base where everything's going to work just fine. They're actually getting a lot more complicated in the floating ones for sure. Take a little bit more time to install. Then the sink faucet, and I leave the mirror up to them to purchase. So all in all, we're looking at $17,000 is what I would charge a client on my behalf, on my end. And I would have about $3,320 worth of materials that I'm responsible as the contractor, all the setting materials and everything I explained throughout this quote. So $17,000 is would be my end. Now, as you can see here down below, I itemize all the items that are not included in this quote that's going to be responsible to the client. I want to ensure that they know that I am not guaranteeing the prices of those things. And these are areas that they can reduce cost and buy cheaper things or whatever it is. But we're talking about $8,875 for the materials that I had estimated to all the fixtures. Now, I do actually have a spreadsheet of all the materials. I'll bring that up here in a second. Let me see if I can, I'm sharing screen. Let me see if I can share another window here. Here we go. Share. All right. So let me see if you guys can see this. Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right. So this is the spreadsheet. Going back to it. So this is the spreadsheet of everything. So I have everything itemized. And again, you can grab this on my website. I actually have this up for free underneath the plan page of bathroomremodelingteacher.com. But this also comes with the course. So you can go in here. I have every single item that is needed for this bathroom. So everything down to every part of it, including all the fixtures that like I was mentioning. So just to give you an idea, this is what the total cost of this bathroom doesn't include any new tools that I bought or any additional items like that, but $11,651. That's what it would cost for you to do this bathroom just by yourself, not including any other miscellaneous things you might need. So all in all, we're looking at $25,875 for this bathroom. And again, there's a lot of areas that you can be reducing the cost of things to reduce the overall expense. And I'm leaving that up to the client to do so. But the $17,000 sounds like a lot of money on my end. But let me just take a quick calculator here. So I'm in here. So 17,000. Sorry, here. 17,000 minus $3,320. That's $13,680. And I would highly, highly recommend any contractor to save 25% of that for taxes, the insurance that it costs you to have things. I'm sure you have truck payments. Now, everybody's overhead is different. But for me, 25% is about what I usually highlight. And sometimes, it really depends on where you're at as a contractor too. I've been doing this for a long time, so I've accumulated things over the years. But if you're a newer contractor trying to get into this, your overhead is going to be through the roof because you're investing in a longer term plan and your overhead is higher, but you still have to stay profitable. You still need to do this to make money. So $13,680 is what I would say is as a contractor, is your take home. And then you want to keep 75 or 25% of that. So I shouldn't say your take home. Your take home is $10,260. So about $10,000 is what you're technically profiting on a personal level for this after you're done. And that really doesn't seem a lot when it's actually taking you 10 days to complete this. In my mind, okay, so it would be great if you could do this bathroom and do another bathroom directly after this one for another 10 days and make that money consistently. But I can't. I have never been able, I shouldn't say I'd never been. When I was in my early 30s, I would do that, but you would be doing nothing but work all the time. It would be 7 days a week because you're going out and looking at estimates on the weekends, and then you're working 5 days a week. A lot of the times, even, I say 10 days, but there might be a Saturday that I come in and actually do some drywall work so I can make sure that everything's ready to paint for, day 8 or whatever. So you're still working, in a lot of ways, more than 10 days, but these are the 10 main days that I would schedule for the project. And then you want to have a buffer for your next project. You wouldn't want to just go try to schedule the next job straight into it, especially if you're a contractor that has many, many jobs stacked out for 3 or 4 months. You don't want to stack them so closely that you have to coordinate with everybody and have them, push the quote, the time frame. Now I would, on this, would have something at the top saying proposed starting date and proposed finish date, so that they know exactly when that's going to be and what this contract is basically for. But I'd always put proposed, because if you have a problem with another project and you're adding, additional expenses, or the client is adding more things on, you need the breathing room to do that. And you don't want to have to go back and forth, with a client on that. So, but just a real rough breakdown of the time frame. This is the way I kind of like to put it together at the end of the quote too, so I can get paid incrementally throughout the job. But day one, like I said, was just demo. Day two is the electrical, the vent fan, and the drywall ceiling. I usually feel pretty good if I can get the drywall ceiling in that day as well, because it's nice to be able to start fresh with the tubs install and the shower faucet the following day. Then number day 3 would be the tub install and the shower faucet, like I was mentioning. Day 4, tub surround, waterproofing and drywalling the wall. So hanging the rest of the drywall, getting that first coat of mud on. Day 5, at the end of the first week, your drywall finishing. So you're putting on your second coat and you're doing that tile floor and allowing that floor to set up over the weekend. And again, this is where a lot of times in my past, I've always gone over on a Saturday to take out all my leveling clips that I was installing and just clean up. You really don't want to wait the entire weekend until Monday to remove those clips, or it's really difficult to remove any extra thin set. So, you're putting an extra hour in on a Saturday on that one. Day 6 is drywall finishing and doing the tile around the surround. I actually technically screwed up on this one because I ran out of tile, had to wait 3 or 4 days for more tile to come in. So my whole schedule doesn't really, it would have been I would have been really upset if this was a client job and I had another job scheduled, because I really just screwed myself not having enough tile. Day 7, again, you're kind of getting into that drywall finishing miscellaneous portion. This is where you're most likely grouting all of your tile and getting those final touch-ups on the finish of your drywall. Day 8, painting, again, miscellaneous. Maybe you're putting in your outlets at that point. There's a lot of electrical going on in this bathroom, so it's gonna take time to do that. Day 9, I have grouting on that one, so maybe I was doing that. I have to go through that again, actually, but it doesn't really matter. You just kind of want to highlight some of the basic points of it, and then day 10 is just everything else, the accessories and whatnot. But if you're a contractor, I highly recommend that you get down 20 to 25% to secure the contract. You don't want to have a wimpy, 10% down at $1,000 for, holding in our spot, especially if you're going to be somebody that, is in demand. If you have 3 months booked out, you're going to need put some money down to hold your spot. And you also want that to be something that they're going to take seriously if they decide that they don't want to move forward with it. But it's also another way to make sure that you have like 50% up front, because I recommend the day of the project to get another $5,000. So you basically have half of your money up front before you start the project. I think it's really important for a contractor to have, be making money throughout the entire project. Again, I was saying I had $3,320 worth of material. I'm going to have all that stuff on my truck for this project on day 1 of the project. So I don't want to be out money. You don't want to be behind the curve on it, especially with the way people can be these days. Maybe I'm just getting a little bit cynical about some people's behaviors on things, but sometimes it's just, you get in arguments, they have all the leverage on what they owe you, and they think that you can just, basically dictate everything you're going to do it. There's obviously a lot of great people out there, and that's a whole nother concept to evaluate, whether somebody's going to be a good client or a bad client. There's a lot of ways you can evaluate that, but I would recommend having half of that up front, and then having a third payment at the beginning of the following week. So this is a 2-week project. So my goal would be to have the tile done on Monday, like the day 6, and then getting another 10-15% down. So 4,000, and then leaving the last bit to be about 10% of the project, so that it's not over leveraged, and you still have enough, demand wanting to get there. So that kind of wraps everything together as far as how this pricing would be. But again, I mean, you're talking about saving. So if you were just buying this retail, if you hired me to do this bathroom for you tomorrow, it would be roughly $26,000 total, and the actual materials and everything were $11,651. So the numbers are the numbers. We are just at that stage now. This is what it costs to do a bathroom renovation. And I should also mention I do have some additional items here to help, for you to check out. I have all the links to the products. So, like this 24 by 48 tile, you can see there, that's $17 a square foot. So we did not choose inexpensive things. And so there's a lot of things here that you can reduce. These, what do you call it? Basket weave tiles were $42 a sheet. So it was over $1,200 just for the tile on that back wall. But you ask me, that was worth every bit and really made a beautiful look. Splazanza, thanks, man. Appreciate you being here. David Novak, thanks for being here. So, yeah, so I do have a material list here. The Kohler toilets are a little bit more expensive than a lot of other ones. So $320 for that. This is, like I said, this is where this tub surround can be significantly less. We got the ones with all the bells and whistles, and you can get, a lot of people don't necessarily need the bench or the grab bars incorporated to it. But all these items are going to be in my course. So let me just bring that up for you, because I wanted to show you just the course real briefly on my website. Where do we have that? Is that the one? Bathroom remodeling? Huh. I don't know why that's not coming up on here. It's probably because I have a window. Oh, here we go. Share. All right. So you guys able to see that yet? There we go. All right. Sorry. I'm still getting used to this whole platform with all these things. But yeah, you go to my website and you'll be able to click on, this is bathroomremodelingteacher.com. I have 13 courses now, believe it or not. So you click on that and you can kind of go through it. The best value in my mind, honestly, is the DIY Geek membership. It's a one-time payment. I'm not asking for continual, expenses on this one. You'll get all the future courses that I create and all the ones that I have right now. And that's really going to be your greatest benefit. I really implore people to purchase that, just because you're going to get all of my courses, and each one has links to other fashions of doing things. So if you don't have a Kohler faucet and you want to install a Growy faucet, I have a demonstration of that. Just like the plumbing's not all the same either. So I have different scenarios and different parts of the projects. But this is the tub and shower course that I'm talking about, and it's only $49. So I'm not asking for an enormous amount of money for it, but it's something that, oh, I got the wrong one here. Go back here. But, it's really just going to be a great way for you to analyze. It's better than, in some ways, watching YouTube, because you're not getting all the ads with it, and you're able to have everything incrementally broken down. So I have the demo process laid out, the bathroom layouts. So this is kind of just important. I have a whole bunch of different layouts that you can download and check out. This is helpful. If you're a contractor, you can just copy and paste some of these diagrams, put them in your own quotes or whatnot. But also it just kind of gives you a guideline of, like, here are the minimums that I have for this room with the toilet, and gauges some things. But I really do think knowing your bathroom layout is really helpful before you go and purchase a whole bunch of things. Electrical, you can do this yourself. If you're a homeowner and it's your home, in most jurisdictions and most places in America, you can do your own electrical, get your own third-party inspector to inspect the electrical and get it passed. So I am not a licensed electrical contractor, but I am a homeowner, and this is my garage. And I was able to just call up my third-party inspector, get a tag for, have them inspect everything, just do everything properly. So that's really all it takes. Same with the plumbing. Most places, as a homeowner, you don't need to hire a licensed electrician or a plumber. You can do all of this yourself. You just have to get it inspected yourself. Now, are there reasons to hire a plumber? You bet. If it's over your head and you can't, like visually add on all of the plumbing that it takes to do this, I do highly recommend to hire a professional. And if you got the whole bathroom and then bring them in, it's going to be a lot less expensive. But I'm just saying the power is yours. You can do this. You shouldn't be told that you can't do something like this. As a homeowner, you do have the right to be able to fix up your own property and improve your living space. So, and I'm just really adamant about that because I do hear a lot of times people talking about that you can't do this, you can't do that. But go, you want the permits, go get the permits, and you can get this stuff passed and inspected. Now, you might have to pay more for them to come out when you screw something up and they want you to address something. But that's the learning curve of doing it all. I show you all the steps that I know about installing this Kohler tub and shower system, easy ways to go about doing this and making sure that everything's plumb level and set so that you can have an easy time to do it. And if you have the right foundation on this, it's going to be easy for you to install. And I guarantee this will save you time and money. If anything, it's just going to give you more thought and idea into your own bathroom project, because I have the checklist, I have the guides, and I'll always be here for support if you don't find the answers that you're looking for. I have all the drywall tutorials from the hanging to finishing to sanding. I go through the paint of this modern vent fan cover to give you indication of that. And each one of these things, I do have all the links to all the products so that you can find that. And some of them I'm working on it though. I will have discount codes for a lot of the products coming into my thing. So that's a whole future goal of mine here on this course, is to be able to get a lot of discounts to where, it's almost doesn't make sense not to buy the course, because you're going to get enough discounts to make it not even cost anything. If anything, you might be making money by joining the course and getting some of the discounts. But anyways, go through all the tiling installation, my methods about going it, the easiest way to go about this. Templating is going to be your friend, especially when it comes to this very expensive tile. And grouting, installing the toilet, caulking. These are all skills that take time to get good at, but I definitely have some helpful tips that are going to help you do this. So again, step-by-step support, and I have an enormous amount of tutorials in here. So, go to my website. You can even get all of these checklists and stuff for free. It's just, I'm really just here to help you plan, learn, and build your dream bathroom. So thanks so much for everyone being here and joining me today. We're just going to keep it at like 42 minutes. So Splaza, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Let me just ask one question. Buzz's retirement garage. Can I use plywood behind a shower surround? Yeah, a lot of times. Now this particular bathroom is a direct to stud system, but you could absolutely do that. And David Novak, you said, do you answer questions from people that roll in your course? Absolutely. I basically every tutorial that I have, there's a comment section below that, and I'm more than happy to help anybody who has kind of looked through that tutorial and has a question about it or has a question in their own project. Because honestly, the more questions I can answer under some of these areas, other people are going to have the same problem, and they'll be able to get the answers or the guidance that I'm going to provide. So I'm really all about, like, I wish I could do one-on-one with a lot of people. I obviously will answer your question through email, and if things get really complicated, we can go further into like a FaceTime. But I'm not really trying to do one-on-one. I'm really trying to everything I do be something that more than one person is actually going to be helpful. But yeah, I'm absolutely helpful in any one of the tutorials, because it's just going to help me make a better deal. So, okay. So yeah, anyways, thanks so much. Really appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you in the next live stream, and stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe, because I'm going to have a lot of great content coming out. We're going to be taking this bathroom out, putting in a walk-in shower. And I think you're really going to find some easy methods on doing that. So thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.